Alright YouTube, what is going on? It's Hightower 5000 here today, bringing you a brand new video. It's not really a road to max today. What we're doing, it's basically just talking about invention and actually tasting the skill for the first time really. So as you can see by the time in the top right, it's 11:11 right now, so it's 49 minutes until the skill should come out. I've got a feeling this is such a big update that it might take a few minutes to actually do, so hopefully within an hour's time we'll be able to do some invention. Now, one or two things before I actually go ahead and speak with Invention. I realise that I'm missing 4 levels to the road to max. This is going to be a bit out of sequence and I'm sorry about this. This is me just being unorganised. I've not had time to upload the road to max video. This week there will be a quest, there'll be a road to max episode with the previous 4 levels before Invention comes out. Today's video is going to involve me talking about Invention and basically the first X amount of levels. I'm not really at all sure how many levels I will get today, but I'll talk about all that in a minute. So Invention comes out in 49 minutes, as I said. Right now what I'm doing is I'm doing all my dailies, so I can basically go ahead and get as many spins or keys, whatever you call them now, on the, it's not Squeal of Fortune anymore, is it? What is it? It is Treasure Hunter. So Treasure Hunter, I'm trying to get as many keys as possible, just so I can try and get as many of these Space Dust or Prismatic Stars. Not at all sure Prismatic Stars are still in the game, but some form of bonus XP that basically will land up helping me out with Invention. Now, earlier on the week I had a few of these, I had like large ones and all that, but unfortunately I can't bank them and I needed my full inventory, so kind of a bit of a nightmare. But I've got 2 here, I've got a medium and I've got a small, so that'll at least give me some XP. Now I realise using it at level 1 is never a good idea, so I probably won't use it exactly on level 1, I'll maybe use it on level 5 or 10 or something like that. I know that's still not going to give me a lot of XP, but every little helps, you know, and I just want to try level up as fast as possible. I'm not racing to 99, I'm not racing to 120, I just want to get a good start. Hopefully by the end of the day I can get to level 30 at least. I really don't know what to expect by the XP rates, no one really does, to be honest. I don't really know what to expect as the whole skill in general, so we'll just have to wait and see. Now, if you don't know what Invention is one of the new elite skills. I say one of the new, there's not any other planned, but the official, or what they call Invention, is the first elite skill. So Jagex must have something else planned, not at all sure what it's about really, but there is going to be, it sounds like another elite skill. God knows when that'll happen, or anything about that. I don't know any information about that. But it's a brand new skill, and basically it's sort of going to involve adding components to weapons and items which give them a boost. So if you think like to Minecraft the enchantment table, it's sort of like that in a sense. So the requirements for this skill are you must have 80 smithing, 80 divination and 80 crafting, so relatively high requirements. Jagex recently did, as part of their festive weekend, they did like double XP on Artisan's Workshop, which would have helped you out with the smithing XP, double XP on Guthinix's Catch, which would have helped you out with divination XP. They probably did something for crafting as well in there. So they're basically giving you an opportunity to get these levels, so I hope you have them levels. If not, then very quickly try and level them up and you'll be able to go ahead and use the new skill. So Invention, basically there's an Invention sort of laboratory or dungeon, I guess you could say, and it is located just to the north of Falador. So if I very quickly zoom out and go onto the Runescape surface, it is up here right now. It's this dungeon here, which we can't go into yet. I went up to it and basically, I think they put this in the game about last week or so. I went up to it just to try to enter, and it says you must have level 1 divination, so we're just waiting for that. Now if you don't have the requirements, the skill supposedly is going to be greyed out as well, so not really at all sure. We'll just have to wait and see. A lot of this I'm going off by reading on Jagex website, seeing live streams and all that sort of stuff. A lot of it we'll just have to wait for, you know, well, we're down to 46 minutes now to really see what actually happens. So as I said, it's going to involve using components to basically make items and armor, weapons, all that stuff better. So what are components? Well, components are basically come from breaking down items. So as you see here on the bottom, you've got the bond button, you've got the wealth evaluator, and you've also got your coin pouch here as well. There's going to be a 4th button added in, and basically this means you can dismantle items. So say for example I'm on a Slayer task, I'm doing Abyssal Demons, I get a whip drop. Instead of banking that item, what I can do is I'll be able to drag it down to this bar here on this button, it'll dismantle it. And basically it will give me components. Now, say for example I have 4 whips, I dismantle them all, they're not all going to give me the same thing. There's a chance of getting certain components, and if you have an amount of components, then you take this to the Invention Workshop, you can then add that as an item. So say for example, whips aren't the best weapon anymore at all, so you might want to go ahead and break them down and then use them on a better weapon like a god sword or something like that. Again, I know god swords aren't the best example because they're not the best weapon, but whatever the best weapon is, or vice versa, you might want to actually try and upgrade the whip to make it the best weapon in the game. That's the sort of thing that they're wanting. In a sense, as Jagex have said, there's no real limit on what you can do. They want you to be creative as possible with all the different sort of solutions and sort of combinations you can make, which is very exciting, I think. I think there's a lot of benefits to this skill as well. This skill's a beneficial skill. You think of smithing, for example, in its current state. I know it's about to change, but in its current state, smithing is awful. Literally, you spend so much money for what? The benefit of creating rune plate bodies, which are not worth anything really, and no one uses them. Whereas with Invention, I think it's going to revive that skill, among many others, basically going to be able to add stuff to the plate body, so it might make it actually worthwhile. As well, you're actually needing a different, or a smithing level, you need 80 to actually do Invention, but I reckon you'll actually maybe need a higher smithing level to do some of the high-end Invention stuff as well. Again, though, we'll just have to wait and see on that. That's going to revive that skill. I think it's going to definitely make a lot of other skills quite useful as well, like having a high crafting level. It's not that beneficial because literally everything you can craft, you can buy, same as smithing. I realise that divination, it's more beneficial actually just because you can get access to much more stuff, for example divine locations and porters and all that sort of stuff. So I would say divination is actually a very beneficial skill compared to the other two, but it's definitely going to revive them. It's also going to revive the economy, and one thing is, it's absolutely great, is the economy. The economy is, in the past year at least, has been a bit on the lower end, and what I mean by that is a lot of normal items have crashed. Everything is become a lot less valuable than it used to be, and in general that's been the trend over the past so many years. As more items have came into the game and as more players have came into the game, items sort of drop down because the amount of demands, because there's more items there's not as much demand, but because there's more players there's more basically amount. So the demand and the supply, basically there's just not as much need, so the prices drop. That's as simple as that. That's basic business. And it meant that, for example, a rune set used to be 150k, maybe probably more than that, 3 or 4 years ago now. It's worth 50k. Hopefully that will revive that, and in the sense as well, components, items that are worth or have good components. Say for example, I've bought 100 whips and 100 dart bows. These are going to have great components. Now they were about 80k, I'm pretty sure, about 6 months ago each. They're now at over 250k. I wouldn't be surprised if they climb much, much higher. I bought mine a few days ago and they were about 200k. I know they're at 250k. God knows what they're actually going to sell for when the skill comes out. So it's making these items in demand really, and it's driving the price up, and it's saving the economy because it means that's going to have a knock-on effect to stuff like Slayer. Slayer is actually going to be a lot more profitable. In general, Slayer is a very profitable skill, but it's going to be even more profitable, which is absolutely wonderful. And I think it's going to revive the whole economy in general. Now, at first, everyone's going to want to try and get some levels very, very quickly. I understand that. People are going to be losing their max capes over this, and this is quite a big deal to a lot of people. Having a max cape is a very big deal. So, especially people with max capes, they're going to be racing to get to 99. There's obviously going to be people who want to get to 99 first and are going to no life for the next 2 weeks, try and get to level 99 and 120. I'm not going to be doing that, but these people are just going to be throwing endless amounts of money at the skill, which is a good and a bad thing. It just means that everything is going to be ridiculously expensive around the new skill, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does mean that a lot of money is getting spent, and especially if you're wanting to go out and actually get these items and sell them, you're probably going to make a lot of money. Now, going back to me really, I just want to get a feel of the skill. I'm quite excited about the skill in the sense that it's going to get me into combat, and I really hope it does. Combat, as you know, and me, I don't know what about combat I don't like. I don't not like combat, but right now I need to AFK a lot, and that's why skills suit me. It's not that I don't like combat at all, but say for example I'm going on a Slayer task, I don't get excited because I know I'm not going to get a good drop or anything like that really, but now I think with Invention, having say for example plate bodies and stuff like that getting drops, making them into components, I think that's going to make me more motivated to do that. But also I'm going to have better weapons, better armor, and all that sort of stuff. So I think this will hopefully get me more into combat as well. Hopefully, as I said, I can get the skill probably up to about level 30. I don't want to try and spend too much money. I've got 66 mil, as you can see there. On top of that 66 mil, I do have probably about 100 mil worth of items in my bank. As I said, I've got 100 whips and I've got 100 dart bows. I've also got some rune sets. I've also got like 10,000 adamant bars. Don't think I can really do much with them, to be honest. That was more for smithing, but there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you get off the treasure hunter keys. Say for example like hides and herbs and all that. I've kept them sort of stuff because they might be useful. I'm not really at all sure if they will be, but I think a lot of stuff that you would presume up till now is not useful will become useful. I think that's partially really all to do with this skill. So that's me really rambled on enough now. I'm trying to get this bloody daily done. It's taking me a wee bit of time. I might actually be able to get the Slayer one done as well. I might actually try to do that so I can try to get some more of these boosts, as I said. But it's really just a waiting game now, so you'll probably join me in about half an hour's time when the skill is about to be released. So before the skill actually comes out, I'm just basically preparing to get the video up as quick as possible. So I thought I'd come over here and basically make a thumbnail, so get an image just outside of the door here. This is the workshop in there, just below the dwarven mine, and there's actually a queue forming, which is quite cool, as you can see, of people waiting to get in. This is going to be very exciting. I'm not surprised that lots of people are here. I wonder what they've got in their inventory, to be honest. So that's the real question, what they've got in their inventory. There's a lot of high level players here. I mean, we're talking level 138, it's a lot of them, a lot of people with very nice capes, very nice achievements as well. So they're obviously going to be racing like mad. I can imagine this place is going to be absolutely chaotic. Worlds are going to be very, very full, and I don't know like the maximum players that have ever been on RuneScape before, but I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people on RuneScape. If not at launch, but maybe throughout the day, tomorrow, that sort of stuff. Just because it's a new skill, everyone wants to try it, everyone wants to be a part of it, everyone wants to level up as quick as possible. So it's going to be a very, very busy time. So the countdown timer has been added. It's not going to come out at 12 o'clock. It looks like it's going to be about 12:20 before it comes in. The queue has sort of misformed and people are literally raging at people for not being in the queue and all that sort of stuff. People are just queue hopping. It's quite funny because people are just absolutely freaking out over it. But I'm very, very excited, and 22 minutes left. So the skill has now launched. As you can see in the background, this is me just logging back on. All the servers went down for a few minutes. Unfortunately, the game launcher would not launch for a few minutes, which was a bit annoying, but once we got back in, I could finally start the tutorial in the workshop. So everything has been added. There's one or two wee problems which I can already say, but they're not major problems at all. One thing, as I've talked about throughout this whole video, is I really wanted to use up my magic stardust on this skill, but I can't for some reason, so that's something that maybe Jagex has either not implemented or is not allowing at this stage. I'm not really at all sure. They might have forgot about it, who knows. But moving on into the skill. The skill is finally here, and I'm going to talk you through basically the whole principle of the skill, not the tutorial though. So as you can see, I'm in the workshop now. There is basically the workbench, which is your main table. It has the discover side and a manufacture side. The manufacturer side is where you discover how to create certain objects and items, and then the manufacturing side is actually creating them. Quite simple. You get XP for both. There's also the dismantling, which I talked about earlier on, which we're going to start off with. So at the stage on my screen right now, you can't actually see it, but you can see along the bottom just below my inventory is my money pouch, my wealth evaluator, and my bonds button. In a second you'll actually see an inventor icon, which is my dismantle section, my invention pouch, and basically this allows me to drag an item down and then it dismantles it. If you right click on it and then you view invention materials, this will come up with your invention materials. Now I'm not at all sure how many different kinds of invention materials there are, but there are a lot, and this is what you need to create items or add to items. So for example, some of the common materials you may get are base parts, blade parts, clear parts. There's some uncommon ones, for example, such as healthy components and heavy components. There's loads of different stuff, and you also get other materials as well, which is junk. I know this will be added to in the future. I know there's a lot that I've not discovered so far. I've only discovered about looks like 21 common materials and 11 uncommon materials, so there's a lot more to do anyway, but there's a lot of items that I've not dismantled yet. However, I have spent about the last half hour or so dismantling different items to see what all the XP rates are and also what components I get. However, I'll talk about that in a minute. So, say for example you have an item and you want to go ahead and dissolve it. Well, you can basically find out what components you get and the chance of junk. There's a chance of junk with every item. It might be 0%, it might be 100%. Obviously you don't want to dismantle a thing that's going to give you 100% junk, because you don't want junk, you want components. So, if you actually go into your magic spells, into your spell book, and if you go into the skilling section, there's now a magic spell called Analyze, which you can basically click on, and then click on the item in your inventory and it'll tell you what components it will give you. Simple as that. So now that that's covered, going back to Discover, as you can see in the background here, this is me discovering the Charger Pack. What you need to do is land up dragging in loads of items basically on your diagram, and it'll basically tell you if the prototype works or not. It's a bit of problem solving until you get it right. Then after that, you've got to go ahead and align the certain items in a certain order to create a good prototype. Now, you can get different ratings of this. You can get good prototype, excellent prototype, unsatisfactory, and poor. Now, you want to get this to good or excellent because this will cost you less inspiration. Inspiration is partially what the skill also evolves around. You get inspiration from leveling up and also dismantling things. With this inspiration, you can basically discover new stuff. Now, you need a certain level to basically be able to unlock the discovery of new things, and then you need the inspiration. If you go into the Discover tab, you'll see your inspiration at the top, and also if you hover over your Invention pouch at the bottom of your inventory, you'll find out how much inspiration you've got. At this stage, for discovering some of the first few items, you don't actually need a lot of inspiration, so you don't need to worry about it. I don't know if you'll ever have to worry about it, to be honest, but I can't really talk about the higher levels just yet. So once you've discovered something, you can then move over to the other side of a table to manufacture it. For example, I've unlocked the Gizmo Dissolver. Not really at all sure what this does, probably dissolve something. But the materials you require for this are one vial, so that's not a component, that's just a normal vial you buy off the Grand Exchange. However, you then need clear parts and organic parts. And these parts really, and all the parts, what I was talking about, the materials, this is where this skill really comes into effect. So it's not easy to get these parts. You basically need to go ahead and buy items off the Grand Exchange, dissolve them to get these parts. Again, there's a chance, so you really need to work out which are the best items, because this skill is so new. You can't really sort of by mouth of word which are the best items and which are not. Obviously prices are going up and down right now. I stupidly landed up buying, just as a joke, put in Willow kite shields or shields at like 10k each, 100 of them, which would have cost me £1 mil, and unfortunately they bought for £1 mil, and their junk chance is very high. Their junk chance was like 70%, so I did waste a lot of money there, which is very stupid of me, so do not do that. Just make sure you are putting in reasonable offers, don't overbuy things, because literally every item, bar quest items, basically every item that you can sell in the Grand Exchange can be dissolved. It's as simple as that. However, you can't actually kill or dissolve, living things like chinchompas. I tried them, so I thought they'd be quite good, but you can't do them. Most things you can do though. Some items, say for example arrows and runes, you actually need a certain minimum amount. So you need something like 50 arrows before you can actually go ahead and dismantle them. You can't just do one arrow. So for me, and most of this skill so far has actually just been me dissolving items. You do get XP for dissolving items. It all depends on the kind of components that item has. That will depend on the amount of XP you get. So far I'm actually at level 11. I've dismantled probably about 2 mils worth of stuff. Literally, I've actually partially gone through my bank and just got rid of all the junk items, which is quite a good idea. So far there's nothing that really sticks out for me. Some potions did very, very well, giving me sort of organic parts and all that sort of stuff. You also had some herbs, they were very good. Cooked fish seemed to be quite good as well. And then I also had, which is very random actually, Harmonic Dust. Harmonic Dust has a 0% junk chance. However, it only gives you one thing, which is crystal parts, but crystal parts sound good. I'm not really at all sure what they'll be used. I'm sure I'll need them at some point. So that's also, and that gave decent experience as well actually, so that wasn't too bad. Anyway, with that aside, really, what people are up to in the game right now is simply just dismantling stuff. It seems that most of this skill, the early stages, is going to be dismantling stuff to get parts, and then because you need so much parts to actually manufacture stuff, you're not manufacturing too much. I probably dissolved about 1,000 things already, or 1,000 different items. However, I've actually only probably made about 12 items, or manufacture 12 items, sorry, at the workbench. So I've actually not been too much at the workbench at all. It's mainly been me at the Grand Exchange just buying stuff. There's already people at level 30, and this is under 2 hours after the skills came out. So people are buying ridiculous stuff for a ridiculous amount of money as well. So if you've got a lot of junk in your bank, you think it's junk, it might not be junk, because it might be very, very valuable. As I listed there, some of this stuff, for example, harmonic dust, very, very valuable actually. So that's really it for Invention so far. I can't really explain much. You've really got to go ahead and do it yourself. It's very, very easy. So far I've seen no benefit of it at all, but I'm at level 11, so I mean I'm not really going to see any benefit, I don't think. Going to continue to train it for now though, try work out, and I'll probably do a follow-up video to this either tomorrow or in the next few days, basically the best items to dismantle to give you the best parts, because that's one of the biggest questions for me right now. People at the Grand Exchange are literally just having conversations going, oh, you should dismantle this, you should dismantle that. One thing I did learn from someone is dismantling leather items such as leather dragonhide chaps and stuff like that, green ones, blue ones. These give you some decent stuff as well. There's some parts that are more in demand than others, and there's some parts that you're probably not going to use for the first 20 levels, just because you're not going to discover anything that uses them parts. However, you might need them at a later stage. There's a reason they're in the game, so they must be used at some time. So even though there might not any use to you now, they might be used to you in the future. One thing that is totally different though is the leveling system, and I touched on this earlier on in the video. They've gone for a different system to the other 26 skills. The other 26 skills, for example, from levels 1 to 2, it's only an XP difference of like 83 experience, whereas in this skill it's over 1000 XP, which is quite a lot, and it's quite different. Currently right now I am level 11 and I'm at 16,000 XP. If you had 16,000 XP in a skill previously, I'm pretty sure you'd be in the 30s or 40s, so it's quite a big difference. It means that going to level 99 I think requires, people have been saying 33 million XP, which is a very, very, very large amount. So that's going to cause some problems, some controversy. It probably means that getting 99 might actually take much longer, it might take much shorter, I'm really not at all sure. I think what Jagex originally aimed for was they were wanting to make the lower levels last longer and the higher levels be shorter, which actually I don't mind that, to be honest, because there's a lot of, say for example wood cutting, you do not, I mean you race up to level 60 and you land up like never chopping half the trees again. Same with quite a few skills, you land up never touching some of the older content again. Like say for example feeding, at level 98 you're not going to go pickpocket just a man, are you? No. So it's keeping a lot of the content active anyway, which is quite good to see. And overall I think it'll make the skill much more enjoyable. It means that the later levels hopefully won't drag as much like some of the skills do. Say for example runecrafting levels like in the 90s, they take like hours upon hours upon hours to do. It's just absolutely no fun at all, whereas hopefully we won't get as much of that in Invention. Alright, so I thought I'd finish off this video by just showing you where I'm at right now. So as you know, it's about 2 hours after this has launched. I'm level 11, as I said, I'm only 310 experience away. I've unlocked and discovered some new things. I think I'm up to about 4 different items I've discovered now. Sorry, if I go into the manufacturing side, as you can see, I've got 4 different ones here. The Divine Charge, the Augmenter, which are the 2 from the tutorial, Weapon, Gizmo Shell, and also Gizmo Dissolver. As I said here, it lists basically all the materials you need. If I go in here and I view my materials, this is all the materials I've got. So don't ask me which items I've gone ahead and dismantled to get, for example, these smooth parts or these simple parts. I've just done loads of random stuff. I've literally gone through my bank and just dismantled stuff. Simple as that. I've also been checking with this spell, going ahead, activating it and going over the item, and just it'll tell me what components it gives me. As I said again, you can't do everything. I mean, this is something from the, this gives you bonus XP, so you can't obviously go ahead and dissolve that. That makes sense. Bar that though, that's really all I can talk about now for this skill. I can't really give you much on what's the best items to dissolve. As I said, I listed some earlier on the video, but it's really sort of just doing a bit of testing yourself, a bit of trial and error, and just going ahead and seeing what items are the best. Probably, I imagine in the next few days there'll be a Wikipedia page for it. As you can see, adamant bar, 23% junk chance. That is actually probably worth going ahead and dismantling. Simple parts and crafted parts. Crafted parts are very, very good. I could always do with them. They are definitely needed for some, or 1 or 2 of the earlier inventions at the workbench anyway. And that's really going to be all for this video. So if you've got any questions, drop them down below and I will try and answer them. Or if anyone else knows the answer, go ahead and try and answer them. Go onto the Runescape forums and Reddit. There's a lot of questions going on down there right now. Hopefully other people will be able to answer that as well if you've got any questions. Again, if you don't have the requirements yet, then you really want to get to here because it does seem a very exciting skill and it is a very exciting time. That's going to be all for this video though, so subscribe if you are new around here. Please leave a like rating. My name is Hightower 5000 and I'm out. Adios.